I'm Anthony Scaramucci, and welcome to Open Book, where I talk with some of the most interesting and brilliant minds in our world today. Okay, so joining us now on Open Book is Madison Malloy. She's an author, a producer, she's a podcaster, and she's out with a great book. She's also a comedian, by the way. She does great stand-up comedy. You can see it in the book. The book is titled Time to Lighten the Fuck Up. See, we actually curse on Open Book, Madison. I know you put the little asterisk in there, but it's time to lighten the fuck up, a self-help guide with a side of humor. Okay, Madison, last time I interviewed you, you were on Mooch and the Misses. It was me and
Yes.
Deirdre Scaramucci. You only have me today.
Yep.
What do you think? Can I handle Madison Malloy, or am I being overpowered now?
I think you can handle it. I like
Yeah?
the T-shirt. I like that you got the coffee. I got my coffee too.
Yeah,
I think we're good to go.
I'm sporting my Empire State Building. I went to the Empire State Building with the kids on a field trip. I got myself a coffee mug. See that?
Hey, I like it.
Tell me about. Let's start with Madison Malloy. How does Madison Malloy enter the world of show business? And then let's talk a little bit about your stand-up comedian-ness, if you will, and then let's talk about this book.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I originally moved to New York because I wanted to be a Wall Street titan. And when I got there, I realized, well, this probably really isn't for me. I didn't know about the whole corporate America thing. Just wasn't feeling it. So I decided I'm going to follow my passion and decided to start telling jokes. And I didn't realize that following your dream, although there's a lot of positives, that there'd be a lot of negatives as well. So
what are the negatives? Let's start with some of the negatives. What are the negatives?
Well, the negatives are, I don't think anyone's as realistic as they need to be of how long it's actually going to take. And having somewhat of a backup plan so you can make sure that you stay financially abundant. Because when you start to worry about money, everything else starts to fall apart. So you got to be realistic about it, and you really got to have a game plan. That's what I tell anyone going into the arts or going into anything is have a game plan and always have a source of income coming in. Because once you lose that, everything else can go down. Your confidence, which you absolutely need, and just your overall mindset. And that was something that happened to me in comedy, although I was having the time of my life, making people laugh. There were so many struggles that were going on behind the scene, which ultimately then led to the creation of my book, because I was able to get out of my own way and finally start being in the right mindset to bring in amazing opportunities.
Well, okay, it makes sense to me. I am a Wall Streeter. I happen to like it, but some
Yes.
people don't like it, and I get that. I'm certainly not a politician, as evidenced by my ill-fated career. But you like what you do. You are in the soup of these things, and so even though you've had these trials and tribulations, the quest, the goal, the journey, the destination is way more important. Isn't that the right messaging, or no?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think you have to be passionate about what you do. You have to love it, and you have to kind of really know that you're on the right path. For me, it's all about inspiring people to live their best life. So that is through my books, through TV shows I create, through my podcast. So I know I'm on the right mission, because when I wake up in the morning, it's not, it's Monday. It's Monday. I can't wait to see what opportunities this week brings. And that was like a telltale sign that I'm definitely on the right path.
So comedians, in my estimations, have some darkness to them. You know, Jim Carrey's a little dark, Robin Williams a little dark,
Yeah.
Bill Maher, my buddy, dark, too much pot smoking, dark. But not you. You're always like bright and sunny. So I'm trying to figure that out. How did you become a bright and sunny comedian in a world of like semi-dark comedians?
Yeah, I think it's comedians typically get that reputation, and in order to get through pain, laughter is a great way to do it. So it's kind of like a natural medicine. But no, I grew up in a great household, and I think my pain was self-inflicted. So yes, I did have pain, and it was great to be on stage to get that out. But a lot of it was just not having confidence, low self-worth, not thinking I was good enough. Um, Insecurities for whatever reasons there were. So there was some darkness and times that I fell into my own kind of mental health issues with anxiety and depression. But I wouldn't say I was more of an optimistic person, and I always tried to be that way. I think it's just the way I was.
Okay. But you were at Nomura,
Yeah.
not doing so well, according to the book. Not doing well, but I mean, you were miserable.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, you were miserable. I mean, you were doing well. I mean, you're great at what you do, of course, but you know what I mean? You were like
Yeah.
mentally like, I got to get the hell out of here. And so you knew at that point you had to start, quote unquote, lightening up. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so no, Nomura was a great experience, and I still keep in touch with a lot of people I worked with there, and that was amazing. But I was a fixed income bond trader, and I started right as the financial crash was kind of starting to bubble up, and was there when it happened. So I was, very knowledgeable on what went down in the last financial crisis because I was quote unquote part of it. And, so that was a dark side. I witnessed basically when I stepped in, I witnessed the glitz and the glamour of Wall Street and all the fun that came with it. And then I started witnessing the dark sides of people that were totally over leveraged and started, um, you know, losing houses, taking their kids out of school. And it was kind of a wake up call that this was not, I wasn't happy, and that anything can be taken from you at any moment. And so it's important to do what you love and be passionate about what you do and have integrity, because that can't be taken away from you.
I think it's very well said. So you got hard truths in this book,
Yeah.
Madison, cold, hard truths.
Yeah.
So let's go over them. Give me some cold, hard truths for my podcast listeners.
Well, I talk about fear in one of the chapters, and I think that's a big thing that holds us back. I mean, you and I have had the conversation. I think I even referenced you a little bit in the book without mentioning your name, of the fear of what other people think. And so many people are held back by that fear. And some people will say, well, I don't really care, but they do, because they're not taking the chances and the risk. I remember you and I had a conversation. We were saying, everybody has that little fear of what people think. But then when your name is absolutely dragged through the mud, it's the best way to get through the fear. So you just kind of have to step into it and have faith and realize that nobody really thinks that much about any of us at all. They're
I
worried
think
about
that
themselves.
I think that's one of the most revelatory things that I have come across in my life. If I could offer any advice
Yeah.
to a younger person, when we're young, we think other people are thinking about us. When we get to our careers and we get so ambitious, we're like, okay, what is someone going to think of my career if I'm at a cocktail party and I talk to them? And then, oh my God, my name has just been plastered in lights very negatively. Or if you're like me, I've been parodied on Saturday Night Live. Okay, think about that. Okay. And so then you say to yourself, is that a disaster or not? And by the way, I'm a very honest person, as you know. And so I went through the cycles of all of those things and all of those beliefs that it is a disaster, but it really isn't a disaster. And so that's the number one resonating message I would say to young people. What other people think about you is none of your business. The sooner you learn that, the more rewarding, the more fun your life will be. I mean,
Yeah.
they write about me all the time. I think they write a negative article about me every 3 or 4 weeks. I'm like, oh, okay, not a big deal like it used to be. What say you to all that?
What was that?
No, what do you say to all that? What's your response to my reflection on this? You agree with
No,
me?
I absolutely agree with you. I think it's perfectly said, because the truth of the matter is, no matter what you do, what you say, how you feel, somebody's not going to like you. So just being confident, and obviously, like, you and I are older now, so it's easier when you're talking to somebody who's in their early 20s, where they're still kind of developing, and peer pressure is a big thing, and what their peers think is a big thing. You try to get through to them that none of this really matters, and that you should only focus on what you can control. And what you can't control is other people's opinions. Unless you're, of course, you're a straight up asshole, then that's a different story. But if you're just, doing your thing and having a good time and doing what's best for you and not hurting anyone, then who gives a shit what they think? And the truth of the matter is, this, the more successful you become, the more people that are going to hate you for no apparent reason. So would you rather be really well liked and just, behind a computer desk where nobody knows you and not making an impact because you're afraid of what people think? Or would you rather not be so well liked by people that don't know you, but have an amazing life that's creating an impact? Well, I would choose the knowing, having an impact and just letting go of what people think.
Talk about conquering fear.
Yeah.
And some of it is our internal feelings, some of it is from our upbringing, some of it is from our financial situation. Take us through the process of creating the freedom that you describe in the book and overcoming fear.
So I think obviously what fear is it is the anxiety of the unknown, right? We're fearful of things that we don't know if it's going to happen or not. That's what we're fearful of. Because if it actually happened, we would know exactly how we would react to it, how it would go. We wouldn't be so fearful of it. So most of our fears are not necessarily fears of like heights or driving fast on the highway or any of those. It's irrational fears. And those are the fears that hold us back. And one of the fears we just talked about was what people think about you. What would happen if you ran out of money? What would happen if your business failed? These are all irrational fears because they haven't happened yet. And all they're doing is holding you back. So I always say, like, a good way to let go of the fear is to step into faith and have faith that it's going to work out. So instead of when you go, oh, am I going to have enough money? Well, that's a low vibrational mindset that's going to keep you broke. You should just say, I am always going to have enough money and it always works out in my favor and this business is going to work out and you're going to start seeing more opportunities and letting go of that fear. So whenever I get fearful about stuff, because we all do, you just got to step into faith and switch the thought process and the words, because your words have so much power. Say, what if it all worked out? What if I had more money than I ever knew what to do with? And it really makes a huge difference. I mean, I'm proof of it. I literally lived paycheck to paycheck for years and years and years. And I struggled and I struggled. And I have this resting rich face. So nobody thought I was struggling. So it's hard when nobody can have compassion for you. But
Mhm.
my mindset and my language sucked ass. It was always worrying about money, not thinking there'd be enough money, thinking I would fail at something. And when those things switched, everything switched.
It's interesting. There was one of my old bosses, now in his 80s. He had this great plaque on his desk. Unfortunately, I should have gotten a copy of it. I can only paraphrase it, but like, do the things in life that you want to do with the assumption that you're not going to fail. So, meaning what holds a
Yeah.
lot of people back is, okay, I want to be a movie star, or I want to be a this, or I want to be a that, but I'm afraid to do it because I'm afraid of the self consciousness of failing. And if you just let yourself go, things start happening. Les
Hmm.
Moonves, I mean, he's had a rough time now, but Les Moonves was an actor. It worked out okay for him, but not great. But he went on to become an unbelievable television executive, and obviously,
Yeah.
he had his issues, so they canceled him. But my point being is, if you just put yourself into the flow, good things start to happen. One way or another. I
Yeah.
can't tell you when I left law school and joined Goldman Sachs that I thought my career would have unfolded the way it did. Some of it has been great, Madison. Some of it has been shitty. I mean, it's been a combination of things, but it's truly been wonderful. I've been very blessed to have this
Yeah.
eclectic experience. Had I not had the guts to push myself, I probably wouldn't be able to have done so many different things,
Yeah. You took
whether it's
a,
television, jumping out of helicopters,
yeah.
or visiting people in Iraq during the war, or doing conferences, building a hedge fund business, and so forth. Um, you you talk about chilling out. Okay, so I always use Mel Brooks's line that "relax, none of us are getting out of here alive." And so, why is it worth worrying? Like, why do people worry? And why is it worth worrying? I'm not saying that I don't worry, but I always try to put it into the category. There's really nothing I can do about it anyway. So let me just do the best I can given the facts and circumstances.
Yeah, and worry is a big thing, and a lot of people now, especially in our economy, are worried about things. But I always say, like, if you're really, really worried, make a list of the things you can control and the things you can't control. And then fix the things you can control and forget about the things you can't, because you're just going to put yourself in a miserable situation. And you're, as Bob Proctor said, like attracts like. So the thoughts that you're putting out there, you're just going to attract more that you need to worry about. But one of the greatest things I always tell people too is, if you're worried about what people think or you're fearful of something, is literally close your eyes and picture yourself on your deathbed. And you have like 5 minutes left to live. What are all the regrets that you have? And really think about those and then write them down, because it's going to be the stuff that you worry about or you were fearful about, or that you didn't take that chance because of those two things. Those are the things you absolutely need to be doing. Because one day when it's over, because it's going to end for all of us, you don't want to live a life of regrets. You don't want to be on a deathbed saying, I wish I had done this. I wish I didn't worry so much. I wish I didn't have so much fear. You want to be on your deathbed saying, this was a great run. I'm ready for the next adventure.
All right, so talk about this great run, Madison. What are we doing now? Tell me about the life of Madison Malloy, and what are we doing right now? What's getting you up and excited in the morning?
Yeah, so I'm doing a lot of different stuff, creating reality shows, as you know. I'm working on actually a fictional book series that's going to be coming out later this summer. I'm working on my next self-help book that I'm hoping to release at the end of the year or the beginning of 2024, which is one of the chapters in my book. I won't give it away, but it's a whole book on one of the topics that really resonated with a lot of people. I'm also working in kind of self-help and development now, from taking my own expertise and helping people live their best lives in their abundance. Investing in different companies. So life is good. I feel that I always tell people, never pick one job title and have that job and say, I am this. You can do everything. As you know, you run a company, but you're on TV. You are constantly, diving into the blockchain area. You are one of those people that if it's opportunity and it makes money and it makes you happy, you can do it. You can do everything that you want to do. So that's for me. When people come at me and they say, hey, here's an opportunity, I don't say, well, I only do X, Y, and Z, because I don't want to box myself in. If it's a great opportunity, well, yep, I'm going to add it to the list, because you can do anything you want.
I think it's so well said. And I think if we don't break out of like the boxes that we sometimes self-impose, it's it's doing ourselves a disservice. So talk about Botox for a second. Did you know I love Botox? Okay.
I just got my Botox, so thank God I did, because I let it
all
war.
let me see.
I let it.
facial
Well, it
expressions?
hasn't kicked in yet.
All right, so you got a little wiggle going on. So
I let it
that-
all wear off,
I'm
all
like
of it.
totally comfortable with the whole Botox. I mean, people saying to me, "Oh my God, your forehead is like a sheet of glass." I'm like, hey, I paid a lot for this for it. Why is that a bad thing to use Botox? Is it a bad thing? I don't think so.
No,
Makes you
well, for
feel
guys,
younger. I mean, you look. I mean,
yeah.
you don't look as tired when you use it. What's the big deal?
Yeah, I don't think there's a big deal at all. So for men, they're calling it Brotox. I'm sure you've heard about that. So instead of Botox, they call it Brotox. But no, I think it's, if you want to do something that's going to make yourself feel better, so you have the confidence to accomplish your goals, then that's what you do. There's women I know who do not do Botox, but they are extremely confident. So I applaud them as well. But if you want to do Botox because it makes you feel better, look better, then why not? And somebody also said that it can actually improve your mood, because if you get your 11s in the middle of your eyes, Botox, you can't frown as much. And there's like a subconscious thing when you're looking at yourself and you're like have an angry face.
There's also Paulina Paraskova just wrote a book called, I think, Unfiltered or Filter Free or something like that. It's a great book. I'm going to try to get her on my podcast. She's 57, beautiful woman, no Botox, all natural. So she's gone in the opposite direction. And again, I no judgment there either. I mean, God bless. I just decided that I'm totally okay pinning my face back the way Joan Rivers once did. And, see, you're laughing about it because it's just so brutally honest, right? What makes good comedy,
I like it.
What makes good comedy? Doesn't honesty make good comedy?
Honesty and vulnerability.
Yeah.
Like most men would not go on and say, hey, I've got a bunch of Botox in my face. They wouldn't.
Right.
They would
Right.
get just enough to minimize it and be like, no, I'm all natural. What are you talking about?
Right.
You know,
Right.
I'm
Right.
not a
My wife likes to
metrosexual.
tease me. She didn't realize that 8 or 9 years ago I was dyeing my hair. Okay. And I'm like, how could you not have realized that? I'm 455 years old. I mean, of course I'm dyeing my hair. I'm just happy that it's still here, but
You
that
got
is
a
real
ton
hair.
of hair.
Yeah, that's an Italian 𝗕𝗶𝘁𝗵. I got lucky with that.
Yeah.
But okay, so we talked about the following things last time. Okay, you ready? We talked about spray tans,
Yep.
boobs,
Yep.
balls,
Yep.
flatulence. Okay. So where should we take things next? Or should we go back to those topics?
I guess we could go back to those topics. It's a lot of people it's interesting when you talk about boobs. There's a whole thing about people taking all their implants out because apparently it's making people sick. But then there's a whole slew of people getting breast implants in. So it's a whole, I think it just goes back to don't worry what people think, do what's best for you. If you want to have a giant rack, well, God bless you. And I'm sure the men will say thank you as well.
I'm with you. I'm with you. It doesn't matter to me, whatever people want to do. You go into this in the book. Sometimes we're our own worst enemies. What did you mean by that?
Well, we are. We criticize ourselves more than anyone would ever criticize us. Think about it. I mean, maybe not you because everybody's always criticizing you. But for somebody that's
Why do you think they go after me so hard? What do you think it is?
I think they're jealous.
You think that's what it is?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think a lot of it's rooted in jealousy.
And just so
Absolutely.
people are they don't like the fact that I'm just so unabashed. They want to smack me in the face a little. Right.
Yeah, they're like, you got
Right.
your head of hair, full head of hair, you're a good looking guy, you're successful, you got a hot wife, you got a beautiful family. Of course, they want to be you and they can't be you. So what's the other thing they can do to make themselves feel better? Well, they're gonna bash you.
Okay. All right.
It
Well,
really
that's
is rooted in
you're
that.
better than my therapist. I should be hiring you. It's spending these millions of dollars on my head being shrunk by my
Yeah.
team of therapists. You see that?
No, you should. I always thought therapy is great. I don't do therapy.
No, I don't.
But
I actually don't do therapy. I was just making a joke.
yeah.
I self-therapize by getting my ass in the gym.
Yeah, exactly. So therapy is great for a lot of people, but I like talking to people and lifting my friends up, or when people need help, they reach out because I feel like the therapists, they're great, but they go to school and they're trained and they're kind of have these like boxed answers, right? And these questions, and they're just talking about your past, where you have somebody like me who's been through the trenches. I'm just going to give it to you straight. And because I'm not licensed, I don't have to have a license to lose. I can
Mhm.
actually kick the shit out of you
Right.
verbally
Right.
and get you on the right track. That's why I
Mhm.
always say, maybe it's not a therapist you need. Maybe you just need a mentor that's going to beat the shit out of you and tell you exactly what you need to hear, which
Right.
is, yeah, okay, here's your childhood trauma past. All right, let's get over that. Okay.
Right.
Let's move past that. Let's figure out where we need to heal and let's move forward, because the reality is every single person, and this is a hard truth, but everyone has to accept it. Your life as it is today, the good, the bad, everything is a result of your thinking.
Right.
It sounds
I'm with
crazy,
you,
but it
and
is 100% true.
I wish I had learned that earlier. You got to forgive your parents for whatever they did, right or wrong.
Because
They
they're
were probably just
human.
trying their best,
Yeah.
unless they were hitting you with a battle axe. Okay.
Right.
And number two, you gotta forgive yourself. You've made mistakes in life. What the hell? Who
Yeah.
hasn't made mistakes? And then the third thing is that so maybe you're not the cover of Forbes, Fortune, Sports Illustrated bathing suit edition, Success Magazine entrepreneur. Who cares?
Yeah.
In our country, you can just have an amazing life. You don't have to have those quote unquote totems. And so why not just relax and enjoy your life and enjoy the process of your life? Doesn't mean you don't try hard and swing for the fences, but don't judge yourself by the outcomes. Judge yourself by the work, by the effort. That's what I tell people. Who cares?
Yeah. And if
All right,
things don't always like go exactly your way, there was a lesson in it. So there's always, as Tony Robbins said, life's happening for you. It's not happening to you. To you is a victim mentality. For you is like, okay, this is
no
teaching me
question.
something and making me grow. It's all
Right.
up to us. I mean, if you have a shitty life, it's probably because you have shitty thinking.
Well, there's no question. I mean, so forgive your parents is number one.
Yeah.
Number two, no victimization, no self-pity. Shut the hell up, get back up to work. You know what I mean?
And
Particularly if
take,
you're born in the United
yeah.
States and you've got a chance at success, shut the hell up. All right. So
Yeah.
every one of my authors, I have 5 words that I present to them at the end of a podcast.
Okay.
And then they're supposed to react to these words. And so it could be a minute, it could be a word, it could be whatever you decide. Ready? Let's start with our 5 words. You ready, Madison
I'm
Malloy?
ready.
Confidence.
Key to success. Absolutely.
Key to success. Risk.
Another key to success. You've got to take the risk and you've got to have the confidence. It's ultimate belief in yourself.
All right. So you got to confidence and risk go together, right?
Yeah.
Tunnel vision.
Something that'll keep you stuck.
Right. So
Get
don't
out
have
of
tunnel vision, right?
No, because tunnel vision it doesn't allow you to see the other opportunities that could be coming in. You set yourself just on a straight thing, and if you don't get that, then you're miserable, and you don't see all the other opportunities that can come in. I mean, when I started, I was a comedian, I was an actress. I thought that's what I was doing. That was the only path I was taking. Had I had tunnel vision, I wouldn't have seen all the other opportunities that were coming at me, and that's where my success came from. Wasn't from what I originally thought I'd be doing.
How about rejection?
God's protection.
Tell me why.
Well, sometimes we take rejection personally because everybody wants to be validated and wants to be accepted. And when somebody tells you no, you think you take it personally, but maybe God's protecting you because something better is out there for you. A better
Right.
job, a better friend, a better romantic partner, whatever it is.
Right. So rejection, not so bad. Feels bad in the beginning, but might be okay in the end, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think it's
Okay.
actually a great thing because it's one of those like knocking on open doors to try to get them to open. The more no's you get, the closer you are to the door that is going to open. I love rejection.
Judgment.
Something that we do too much to ourselves.
Right. Don't be so judgy-wudgy of yourself, right? Don't be so hypercritical, right?
Well, when they also say when you're too judgmental of yourself, you're probably too judgmental of others and vice versa.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you don't know somebody's
I'm
story,
with you
so
on that.
stop
Yeah,
judging
I'm
them.
with you on that. I don't like judging people.
Yeah, and you get judged a lot, so you know how it feels.
Yeah, but listen, it's a 1 to 5 second bum out. I read it up and then go on to the next thing. But
Yeah.
I don't like judging people. I don't, I had these Bloomberg reporters that were bashing me, and I said, okay. And then they wanted to come to my conference, and some people on my staff were like, oh no, you gotta, they can't come to the conference. I'm like, relax. I'm a big believer in the freedom, but let them come to the conference. I don't give a shit. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
point. You got to just handle yourself with aplomb. What would you do differently if there was one thing that Madison Malloy could do over? What is that? I know what it is for me. I'll tell you mine, but you have to tell
Yeah.
me yours.
Okay. Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Do differently. Gosh, I want to say I would have believed in myself from the start. And
More
I would have
self-belief.
and I would have taken more chances and more risk romantically. I had no problem taking chances and risk in my career, but when it came to romance, no.
So give me an example. So you were dating somebody that you broke up with, what happened? Go ahead,
Yeah,
talk.
I think you get hurt and sometimes you get hurt so bad that when you finally get over it, you say, why would I ever do that again? It's like eating meatloaf when you're 5 and you get food poisoning. You never eat meatloaf for the rest of your life, right? So it's weird. Hangovers and romance. Somehow we just keep going back for more torture. But I think I would have, uh, taken my own advice now and probably maybe have met the person by now. I don't know. But I
But
didn't take enough chances.
is there a guy out there that you blew off that you regret blowing off?
Not that I blew off, no. One that I regret meeting at the wrong time.
Okay.
It was the right person at the wrong time. I mean, luckily we're still friends and we have a great relationship that way.
Right.
But sometimes I just realize that, maybe that wasn't God's plan for me. And
I gotcha.
I'm not miserable and I'm happy. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, well, that's great too. And what's
No,
yours?
Well, I have one main one, and that is it's Skybridge related, frankly. I should have never put the business up for sale in 2016 into 2017 because,
Yeah.
and that just it was a mistake, flat out. Because I went to go work in the White House. I thought it was the right thing to do to put it up for sale pursuant to the ethics laws, and I missized that whole thing. I had plenty of time to unravel that, and I didn't understand that at the time, and so that was some naivete and lack of experience on my part, and it hurt the firm. I mean, just to be totally candid. I mean, the firm is fine now, and it's we're having a great year this year and so forth, but it did set the firm back unnecessarily, and that was bad decision making on my part, and it was born from expedience and I would say almost a level of impetuousness that I didn't have to have at the time. I
Yeah.
needed to probably talk to more people about the process. And so sometimes I tell people, slow it down a little. You're making a
Mhm.
big monumental decision. It's okay to get more input, and it
Yeah.
also, with your health, if something wrong with you health wise, it's okay to go to one doctor, but it's okay to think about like what the Mayo Clinic would do. They would go to 20 doctors. That's why the Mayo Clinic became so
Yeah.
famous. They're going to a neurologist and a pulmonary guy and a, you know, kinesics guy, whatever it is, to look at the whole body
Yeah.
before they make an opinion on you. And I think you have to do that more sometimes with big, big decision making. I didn't do that.
Yeah. But you learned from it.
Yeah, you learn from it. Exactly. That's all. But you
Yeah.
learn from it. Here's the other thing, the millstone of regret, you let it go. I don't go back. I don't kick myself in the pants for that. I don't kick myself in the pants for being fired from the White House. You go forward. I think that's the coolest thing about your book. The title of this book, Time to Lighten the F Up. See, I didn't say the F bomb this time. Time to Lighten the F Up. A self help guide with a side of humor from Madison Malloy. Looking forward to your future and congratulations on the book. And thank you
Yeah.
for joining us on Open Book today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. No, I was so excited to do this show. I'm a big fan of it. Keep up the great work. I love the guest. And I think you're doing remarkable stuff. So keep it
It's
up.
very, very sweet.